Adventure Time's new Max spin-off series Fiona and Cake has finally come to a close after 10 heart-wrenching episodes. And let me tell ya, I'm devastated. Pendleton, you bring back the one thing in my life that makes me feel normal, and then you yank it away after 5 weeks? Yeah, okay, buddy. Capital punishment time. Now. But putting aside my never-ending grief for the holy grail of animation that is Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake has proven to be quite, how do I put this? Literally the best show of all time! 55 Emmys, 55 Oscars, 55 Grammys, 100 Rotten Tomatoes! You get a Cake, you get a Fiona, you get a Donald Glover cameo! I made a whole video about it, and you should go watch it if you have nothing better to do. But for us real Fiona and Cake fans, we gotta have a little talk. So all aboard the psych ward bus now, kids. There's a lot to cover. Mainly the fact that Fiona and Cake was a flop. Compared to Adventure Time, I'm aware that's a bit of a jarring statement to make 30 seconds into a video, but trust me when I say this isn't coming from a place of negativity, but rather concern for the future of the show and Adventure Time as a franchise in general. Not concerning the content, but rather the audience of the content and its dwindling relevancy. There is buzz around Fiona and Cake, don't get me wrong. It was the #1 streamed show on Max for a good bit, and discussion surrounding it is definitely not dead. But comparing the success of it to the original series is kinda like comparing my bank account to my college tuition. It's dead in the water. I mean, it's not like Fiona and Cake is some kind of spiritual successor. It's a direct sequel show made by the same creators, and for some reason it doesn't feel like that big of a deal on the internet. You can find discussion and fan shit about it pretty easily if you know where to look. But for the average Adventure Time fan, it seems like most of them have no clue it exists. For example, the main trailer for it on YouTube has around 1 million views, which isn't too shabby at first glance. But when compared to this other video on how to make Jake's special sandwich from season 5, it's a little jarring. Where the fuck are all the Adventure Time fans? And why aren't they watching this? Adventure Time was lucky enough to break 10 seasons and reach 3 million live viewers at its peak, yet somehow it can't reach more than 1 million views on a simple trailer for its sequel show. Pendleton must have pissed off a very specific YouTube exec, because at least to me, this just doesn't make sense. Though I'm not beyond reason just yet. I understand that Adventure Time is an old series, and getting adults back into something they liked as kids isn't always easy. However, the Powerpuff Girls reboot got plenty of coverage when it was revealed, and clips alone from Steven Universe Future still average millions of views. So what the hell is up? Are the entertainment gods blackballing this series? Do people just not care anymore? Is editing the same goddamn video for 12 hours straight on my desktop increasing my chances for Alzheimer's?
I mean, yeah, probably.
I believe I may have the answers to most of these questions, or at least a few theories as to why this is happening. Talking about it probably isn't going to fix anything in the long run, but I'm hoping this video will at least help me sleep at night. Transition. One of the many reasons why I believe Fiona and Cake didn't do so hot is because streaming shows don't always get the same promotional love as on-air TV. And being a Max exclusive, Fiona and Cake wasn't exactly at the doorstep of every Adventure Time fan. The show's advertising, or lack thereof, was mostly word of mouth along with a singular Comic-Con panel. And in regards to the lack of YouTube views, I believe the big bad culprit is YouTube Kids. As of recent, YouTube has apparently been on some kind of crusade against Fiona and Cake, marking everything relating to the series as kid-friendly, despite its TV-14 rating and clear intention for older audiences. This normally wouldn't be that big of a deal, but when your content gets marked for kids, it heavily handicaps the video and buries it underneath an avalanche of actual kids content, making it harder to reach its intended audience. That means less promotion and fewer recommendations for a series that didn't have much of it to begin with. I still know people who had no idea that Distant Lands was a thing, so I can't even begin to fathom the amount of people who are blissfully unaware of Fiona and Cake's existence. Another reason for Fiona and Cake's lack of popularity is the nicheness of the show's plot. Not that every cartoon needs to be super accessible and easily understandable, but compared to Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake is kind of a harder sell. I've tried introducing Fiona and Cake to countless friends, only for them to get stuck because they hadn't finished Adventure Time, or they simply didn't have the free time to do so. Adventure Time allowed you to jump into any random episode and still have a blast, whether or not you grasped the overarching lore. Fiona and Cake, on the other hand, is practically all lore, and it's not just a cameo fest. Many plot lines and arcs require prior knowledge to Adventure Time to make sense, and not everyone has that. It's a dream come true for us batshit crazy cartoon heads, but for the casuals, it's a bit of a head scratcher, and that's definitely something Max will consider if they ever decide to make another season or any kind of follow-up. Even as Fiona and Cake was actively airing, streaming and online engagement towards the original series was much higher than that of Fiona and Cake's. It could have just been people binging Adventure Time in preparation to watch Fiona and Cake, but more likely, it could have just also also been proof that the show was too daunting for most of Adventure Time's core casual audience. And this brings me to my final reason, which is probably the most obvious of them all. And that is that the same core audience simply aren't kids anymore. While yes, Adventure Time does have a sort of universal appeal, it is at its core a quote-unquote kid show. And Fiona and Cake is just an adaptation to a kid show. Most adults have probably moved on and don't care anymore. And kids who are aware of Adventure Time's existence probably don't have as big of an attachment to Adventure Time as older generations, and don't really care to watch a sequel show that has gore, swearing, and weird multiversal concepts to it. I know when my grandpa starts talking about back in his day, my brain fucking clocks out of existence. Younger kids don't care about their childhood memories with Finn and Jake. They're too busy making their own with fucking Coco Melon or some shit. I don't know what kids are into. It's a hard, pessimistic pill to swallow that we may have already peaked in Adventure Time interest on the internet. Fiona and Cake was a great series, and it's not like the writing quality or the fandom is going to die out anytime soon. But for a lore-heavy direct sequel to one of the greatest, most successful, popular cartoons of all time, you'd think it would have been a bit of a bigger deal than it was. Though, looking on the bright side, it does seem that Fiona and Cake has garnered enough attention to warrant more Adventure Time content in the future, whether or not it's as big of a hit as the OG series. I think as long as there are enough mentally ill cartoon heads out there willing to watch new shit, we should be fine. But that definitely won't stop me from worrying and most likely going bald by 25. We haven't heard anything about a season 2 yet, like, at all, but considering the sheer size of Adventure Time's world, there is definitely room to tell more stories and develop the lore further, even if it is just a stupid spin-off about Marceline and Bubblegum as old ladies. And overall, while I am a bit worried about its future, Adventure Time for the most part looks like it's here to stay. Though, if I have to wait more than 5 years again for more content, let's just say, it'll be a long time before you ever see me again. Anyways, my name is Indegenerate, and before the video ends, I'd just like to say thanks for all the recent attention to my channel. I recently reached 3,000 subscribers, and let me just say that's not a number I ever thought I'd reach here with my time on YouTube. But regardless, I'm gonna make this newfound success count, and I'm not gonna let y'all down. I have 2 more videos planned for October, and part 2 of the FNAF song tier list is one of them. It's grind season currently, so no rest for me. Hopefully you'll consider subscribing and joining me on my silly YouTube adventures going forward. Don't forget to take a shower, and I'll see you guys soon.